Well, the United States has made an arrest in connection to the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moise, who was killed last July. According to the Colombian National Palace, Colombian man Mario Palacios was extradited to the U.S. from Panama on Tuesday for his alleged involvement in Moise's assassination. And this comes just after Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry survived an assassination attempt of his own. English language editor of Haiti Liberté, Kim Ives, joins us now to discuss. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, so tell us really what is the latest, and who is this person that they've arrested? What evidence do they have against him?
Well, it seems he was part of the team that knew that they were going to try to assassinate Moise. A lot of the 26 Colombians were apparently in the dark about that. They thought they were going to protect somebody. But apparently 7 of them were aware they were going to kill the president, and he seems to be one of them. And he's now claiming that he came late to the party, as it were. He came in after Moise was dead, he says, but apparently previously he said he was there. So in one way or another, he seems to have been part of the select few that knew they were going to kill Moise. And the one thing that is a little questionable is, why is he in the U.S.? Why isn't he being sent back to Haiti? That's where he should be tried. That's what the Haitians are saying. They're saying, how is the U.S. going to take him instead of Haiti? So we'll see what happens on that front.
So on the question of the alleged assassination attempt against Prime Minister Ariel Henry, the U.S. envoy who had retired from there called it a fake assassination attempt of a fake leader. We can play video of that has emerged since. And so, Kim, what's been the reaction in Haiti to this? You know, watching that video, you could question whether this is a staged assassination attempt. Right,
and the guy who was making threats before, Winter Etienne, is the leader in Rabateau. They're trying to put it on him. It looks, from looking at that video, it looks like the people are not really scared, not really diving for cover. There's no sort of running to different corners. They're staying and all crouching. So the Haitians, looking at it, say that it was all theater, that this was just one thing to underline and the insecurity that is ravaging the country, and providing grist for Ariel Henry to say that they have to fight the bandits.
So if it is fake, that means that Ariel Henry is potentially involved or helped to organize that to make himself look like a victim, or that his policies are justified? Is that what we're understanding here?
Something along those lines, yeah. You have to think, the guy is really on the hot seat. Basically, his legitimacy, if he has any at all, comes to an end in about a month on February 7th, which would have been when Jovenel Moise steps down. There's another coalition of groups which is pushing hard to replace Ariel Henry's coalition with their own. This is what's called the Montana Group. And so, you know, we're seeing he's under real pressure, and he might want to make some sort of threats against himself to either garner sympathy sympathy or create a situation that says he has to stay in because of the insecurity.
And what's the status of the investigation into him? As viewers of this show might recall, the prosecutor appointed to investigate this suggested that Henry himself be charged for involvement in the assassination of Moïse. He then fired the prosecutor.
Exactly. Yeah, so nothing has happened on that front. You haven't heard anything, and, it's a big question. I mean, you have to think, the New York Times piece came out a couple of weeks ago showing that the Martelly, the sector of Michel Martelly, the former president and the guy who was the mentor, basically, of Jovenel Moïse, but then alienated, it seems that his brother-in-law, a guy, Kiko Saint-Remy, was behind this killing, at least in part. We think that it's a larger coalition of the bourgeoisie that was involved. But he's basically Martelly's boss, and Martelly is the one who basically put Ariel Henry in power. He's the one who told Jovenel Moïse, yeah, take Ariel Henry. So if Ariel Henry is close to Martelly and Martelly is close to Kiko, then we could say that the phone calls which were made to him by a guy called Joseph Félix Badiou in the early morning hours right after the assassination, he got 2 phone calls amounting to 7 minutes, and he's never accounted for them. He says, I don't remember them, that's all. And so nothing's been done.
Yeah. Just 2 phone calls from somebody linked to the assassination in the middle of the night. Who remembers that, really? So much happens in a day.
Yeah, the guy who actually told them to shoot him. Apparently the Colombians described him over the phone to Badiou, and Badiou said, okay, kill him. And this is the phone calls that he doesn't remember.
Yeah. So where do you see this going next? What's the next development we're going to see?
Well, I think, they're going to keep shuffling their feet and doing these theaters, if that's what they are. But I think, there's a revolution brewing at the base. The people are fed up. They're fed up with Henry. They're fed up with all the corruption, and, people are having a very, very hard time. They don't have sanitation, they don't have food, they don't have schools, hospitals, everything. And so the whole situation is very explosive, and I don't think they're going to be able to resolve who killed Jovenel Moïse really until that government is out.
And the last time you were here, we talked about how the gangs that were starting to take over in a lot of these areas were drifting toward kind of revolutionary politics, moving away from just pure kind of criminality and self-protection and into actual, political activity. What's the status of that movement on the ground?
Well, myself, I make a difference between the gangs and what I call vigilance brigades. You have a number of gangs, clearly, who carry out kidnapping and extortion of small merchants and do a lot of criminal activity. But facing them is what they're calling the revolutionary forces of the G9, family and allies, which is trying to stamp out crime, is trying to stop kidnapping, extortion, and basically advocate on behalf of their poor communities. That's headed by this guy, Jimmy Cherizier, known as Barbecue, has been vilified and called a notorious gang leader, etc. But really, he's the anti-gang leader. And so the conflation, really, of the gangs with the vigilance brigades is confusing for people, and I think that needs to be clarified. Their movement, though, I think is gathering force, both in the diaspora and in Haiti. His message is really resonating with people, and even this group, Winter Etienne, he calls himself the Revolutionary Forces up there in Gonaives, where they did this theater against Ariel Henry. And so, he has a lot of copycats. So this sort of tells you that he is getting some traction.
Kim Ives, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, tomorrow on Rising, investigative reporter Sharon Lerner joins us to discuss how risky virology research could lead to the next pandemic.
And Daily Poster founder David Sirota is here to break down the Biden donors who are working to tank his agenda.
So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you then.
See ya.